To tie a bright green Stimulator. I'm going to show how I would tie it. Got a size 10 curved shank hook. I got some 8/0 or 70 denier bright orange thread. Okay, get my face up there. Okay, tail is some olive deer hair. I like using olive deer hair instead of bright green because I want a little contrast from the dubbing and the body hackle, which is going to be a bright green. So I'm going to want it about a hook gap long. It's pretty general. You don't want too long. You're just going to tie it in. Don't tie it down tight. You're just going to spiral very, very loose wraps to the front. Okay? After about 2/3 way up the hook, you're going to do about 2 loose wraps. Come in, you're going to trim off your deer hair. Apply your pressure. You don't want the deer hair to spin around the hook. So what you're going to try to do, then you're going to come back and you're just going to tighten down all your wraps. It'll flare out a little. That's fine. I'm going to take some copper wire. This is just a small copper wire. It's going to be a ribbon. Tie that down good. These flies are working flies, so you want them tied pretty strong. I'm going to take some chartreuse or bright green dubbin. So I'm just dubbing to the hook. You're going to want this pretty sparse, not like a wet fly, but you're going to want to give it a little taper. So I'm just going to catch the dubbin in. Just going to tighten it down a bit. You're just going to dub up. Less is more on this fly. You don't want a particularly large amount of dubbin. You use just a little more. Trim that. Okay, you're going to tie in a bright green. This is a dark green hackle, dry fly hackle, but it's lighter on the back, as you can see. Sort of like a two-tone from when it was dyed. You want contrast once again on these flies. These are attractor flies, so they need to be sort of bright and a little flashy. Okay? You're just going to wind that. You want pretty close wraps, I would say. These flies, you want them to float real well. Okay? Come in here with your copper wire. See if I can get it ribbon. Sort of hard to rib with these dyed hackles. Okay. You don't want a lot of rib, you just want 3 or 4 to give segmentations. Okay, and then I'll just use a piece of Velcro to pick out any fibers that I trapped. Okay, now we're going to go for the wing, which I'm going to use the same deer hair, and I have just stacked pretty good sized clump of all the deer hair. This deer hair has a curve to it, as you can see. From when it's lying like this on the hide, has a curve to it, okay? You want the curve forming a little air pocket, like so. My scissors just fell. So you want it forming a little air pocket, okay? So you're going to tie it in to form that air pocket. However, you don't want to flare the deer hair, so this presents a problem. I'll show you how to fix that in just a sec. So I'm going to wrap my thread up to about an eye or two length away from the eye. Measure my deer hair. Okay. And you want the tips of this wind to line up with the tips of your little butt or tail. This is a fairly decent clump. Let me get a broken one out. So, right now what you're going to do is you're going to tie these butts down like so. Tie them down nice and hard. Okay? But notice we are still about a hook eye's length away from the hackle, okay? So that gives us enough room to lighten up on our pressure, yet still have this tied down nice and securely. So if we let this go, it's going to flare, okay? I'm just going to trim this up real quick. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to ease back on this pressure. Just sculpt it, okay? And that is not real firmly tied in there, okay? That's just eased, so you just sculpt it. For our front hackle, we're going to use a Grizzle hackle. This one I've actually chosen for cape because you want there to be a slight taper in the hackle itself to give a good impression. So I already got one here. So it's tied in like so. And once again, while you get up here, you can ease on there the pressure. You do not want a lot of pressure, or you're going to flare up that wind. And you can put like tied pheasant tail legs on here to help give it like a hopper look, or knotted pheasant tail legs. You're going to do a light dubbing, same dubbing color as your body. You can vary it to maybe a darker or lighter. It just depends what you want it to look like. Dub very lightly. You do not want to apply a lot of pressure, especially on that wind. You want to taper to your dubbing to look like a waffle cone, sort of, or like a bullet head. And I'm just going to put some more dubbing. Okay, and you can see that taper is real pronounced, okay? Now with my hackle, once again, do not apply a lot of pressure. You can get that deer hair flaring. Just lock it in there good enough in the dubbing. Do three wraps. It's good enough. 3 or 4. Just tie it off. Break off your hackle. Get my scissors. Okay, so I'm going to bring my thread out, and I'm just going to stroke all these back to get them out of the way. This can be tricky to do, so just take your time. That's the main thing. Now just finish your head. This hot orange thread makes a very nice head. Just situate your wind. When you're fishing, you'll notice that the wind could shift off, and all you need to do, I'm going to do it real quick. Just take some head cement. Oops. Just with a needle, just put it in the base of that deer hair. Just seal her up. I do